Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Jonathan Shiery with Guidehouse Consulting. I'm a partner in our commercial financial services segment. And today I have the pleasure of talking with Tiffany Perkins Munn, who is a managing director and head of marketing data and analytics at JPMorgan Chase and Co. So welcome, Tiffany. It's been great to put this on the calendar, and I've been very eager to speak with you.
Hey, Jonathan, it's nice to be here chatting with you too.
Yeah. And so before we jump in, because I know you have a lot of thoughts on the current landscape of data analytics and the intersection with financial institutions, you've been at the forefront of data analytics and insights at some of the largest financial institutions for decades at this point. But I think you have one of the more unique backgrounds and career journeys that I've seen in the industry. And so from an undergrad in psychology and Spanish to leading data analytics at JPMorgan Chase and other large financial institutions. Please tell me how that career journey came to be and how you evolved and what you bring from that early training into insights when you do the intersection of psychology and data analytics.
Yeah, it's actually not as strange as it sounds once I explain it to you. But the reality is that I was psychology undergrad with a Spanish minor, and then I was trying to make a decision about what I should do for grad school. And I wanted to continue my work in psychology, but I didn't want to do therapy. I really wanted to do research. I envisioned myself as like working for the NSF, the National Science Foundation or the CDC, or doing something like that, really cool research. So on that journey, as it turns out, psychology, when you go get a degree, my degree is actually turns out to be an applied statistics degree because I have an interdisciplinary concentration in advanced quantitative methods. I know it's a mouthful, but really, it really is the practical application of behaviors. And how do you measure that? The practical application of behaviors to measurement, and how do you measure that, and what metrics should you be thinking through, et cetera. So a psychology degree, though, is a very quantitative degree. Like you end up doing a lot of statistical classes, probability and statistics, different types of advanced statistics, because in order to execute your dissertation, you need to be able to do research. You need to know research methodology. You need to learn how to apply research methodology. You need to know, like, I'm trying to ask a particular question. Which statistical analyses should I know how to do? And believe it or not, when everyone talks about things like regression analyses and things like that, I actually was taught to work out regression analyses by hand, right? So there was no like, oh, let's use SAS or SPSS or Python or R, none of that. So I think, what it did for me was it really helped me to understand the core of what is happening behind that analysis, behind the curtain, and how you should be thinking about every single number on the output to help you understand whether or not you really believe what the results are showing you, or how you should interpret those results. So I guess I was always sort of destined to, sort of be in the space of psychology, statistics, the measurement of behaviors. And at this point, I've been in financial services for so long. I'm obviously on the consumer banking side now, but I've worked in retail with financial advisors. I've worked in investment banking. I've worked in global markets, sales and trading with institutional clients. I've worked at a hedge fund. So I have extensive data and analytics expertise, and I've had the opportunity to utilize this concept of measuring the behaviors of market participants, from people who are actively investing in the market to portfolio managers, analysts, traders, salespeople. I've had the opportunity to investigate and understand and analyze lots of different players in the financial services landscape through all the lenses of the various facilities with the firms that I've worked with.
That's interesting. So it sounds like from the psychology background, there was the research and modeling and data analytics drivers that you had become accustomed to very early in your training. But I have to think, when you look at your current role and the roles you've played, like say head of marketing, data and analytics, that psychology, because banking is a people business, that background also plays into understanding how to deliver the messages. And I've read your blogs on LinkedIn, and they're phenomenal. And I think you do a very nice job of being able to digest a lot of complicated terminology in a way that's easy for people to understand, that may not have that deep of a level of background and expertise. And so I have to think that also has played a part in you being able to deliver the data in a way to people that, from a psychological perspective, are able to use it and understand it very quickly, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Psychology really helps you to understand not only people's behaviors, but their motivations. How do you get messages across to them? How do you, different people will require different, sort of processes for how they internalize, digest, and process information. So psychology helps you with all of that. And my blog is really because I feel like people have this idea that, oh, those people over there do data, right? Those are the data scientists, the data analysts, the data engineers, the data gurus. And as a result, people in general often overlook the role that data plays in their own everyday lives. So the purpose of the blog was really meant to take some of those more complicated, complex ideas about data that people have, machine learning, AI, um, anything really, data literacy, and debunk those myths, like talk about it in plain English, using examples that people understand in their everyday lives that could be useful not only in their everyday personal lives, like how they live their lives day to day on their phone, but also in their professional lives, how they may take some of that I am trying to impart and really start to incorporate it in the way that they even think about their businesses.
Yeah, and I thought the blogs were fantastic, so I'll put the plug
Thank
in.
you.
I'm very modest about it, and when I was reading through them, they definitely put this in a way for you to understand, at no matter what experience you have, and take something away from it. But before we jump in, Tiffany, on some of the data literacy, which I think is where you were going on being able to understand data and understand that it is for anybody, and how they can use it. It's a topic that you and I have chatted about before in our prep sessions. Let's talk about the larger market overall and what you're seeing from a data analytics, AI, machine learning. These are all buzzwords out there in the industry. Everybody loves them. People are using them in different ways.
Yes.
Seen over the last 10 years or so, and of recent time, in how financial institutions are thinking about AI, machine learning, and the landscape, and using these, and the type of use cases that you're seeing starting to be applied, and how they would benefit consumers and companies overall.
So, what is your exact question?
Yeah, so I think, as what I would ask is, like, as a starting point, when you see over the last 10 years, AI and machine learning evolve, and now become at the forefront of conversations, what are you seeing that's different now, and why now is it at the tip of everybody's tongue in the industry, and how are you seeing it starting to be applied to customers and clients in business fashion?
Yeah. So I would say that, I've been doing this for so long, as I don't want to date myself, but I have been doing this for a while. And in 2012, Thomas Davenport coined this whole concept of data science as the sexy new field. And I would say that from that point on, people have started to think more strategically around data. Not that they weren't thinking about it before, but kind of giving that label to a function that really utilized it in an intelligent way, to make decisions, um, really helped to open, I would say, the conversation and the landscape around what we talk about in marketing and analytics particularly, and how the role that AI plays in that. And so now that people are thinking about data and they realize that it's coming in, it's pouring in, pouring in. Like we have more of it than we can actually utilize. And now we have to start thinking about things like hyper personalization, right? Like how does a bank, for example, deliver hyper personalized marketing experiences? We do that by leveraging vast amounts of customer data and using those AI algorithms to analyze preferences, behaviors, transaction history, to offer customized product recommendations, targeted offers, tailored marketing campaigns, etc. There's also this idea. So hyper personalization matters, right? Because people are used to it now. They go on their phones. Everything that they've ever wanted is right there. They know that if they search for something, sooner or later, someone will come and say, "Oh, I see you search for this. Are you also interested in this other thing?" Right? So it is our expectation, even though some people see it as creepy, it is our expectation that the institutions that we have relationships with will understand who we are and will know how to interact with us and will engage us around the topics that matter to us. Another topic, though, that I think is happening as a result of this is this concept of real time. Like, what is real time analytics and decision making? So, really having artificial intelligence powered analytic platforms help not only banks, but firms to process and analyze like really large volumes of data in real time. And that will facilitate more accurate decision making and thus allow the firms to like respond promptly to market trends, to respond promptly to customer needs and emerging risks in a way that we haven't been able to do historically, at least not in the blink of an eye or with a split, in a split second. We'll be able to do those things more effectively as well.
And is it the access to data or just the technology evolution that has now made this available to us, where previously we've had to use like batch processing and other types of handling of data that may have been slower and not allowed us to be able to analyze as much data in real time, or the vast majority, the size of data? Is that what's driving us to be able to really make these leaps and bounds so quickly at this
I
point?
think it's both access and technology, like analytical technology. It's obviously access because we're all being, it's so much information is coming to all of us at an increased rate, an increased velocity every day. And we have access in ways, you used to have to go to the Encyclopedia Britannica or whatever to look up your information. And now you simply go into your phone and ask Google, or now go into Chat GPT and ask Chat GPT, and boom, there's the answer. Some combination of answers, in fact. So we all have access, which makes it more available to everyone. On the flip side, we also have better technology now. Like AI algorithms are enabling us. Like, think about segmentation. We used to be able to do just very rudimentary segmentation. Now we can use algorithms that will allow us to segment customers more effectively based on a multitude of criteria, right? So demographics, psychographics, behaviors, preferences, all of this helps in developing highly targeted marketing, in my case, strategies that deliver personalized experiences, right, to very specific customer segments in a way that we haven't been able to do historically. And it's really the technology of the analytics that allows us to be able to do that. Or if you think about voice and natural language processing, right? All of these AI powered voice assistants and natural language processing technologies are really becoming very prevalent in all of our banking interactions. So customers are able to engage with their banks using voice commands. They can make inquiries, they can perform transactions, they can receive personalized assistance, all through voice and NLP, natural language processing.
And when you look at some of the use cases, mentioned hyper personalization, we all are becoming very familiar with that. In the Amazon use case, we go out there and we get a lot of recommendations, or on social media, we're continuously getting advertisements that are tailored to whatever we're discussing. But from a financial institution and banking perspective, what are some of the use cases you're seeing out there where hyper personalization will really drive a better customer experience?
Well, definitely customer segmentation, which I just mentioned, right? Using um, customer data and purchase history, behavior, online interactions to identify really distinct customer segments, which enables us to tailor our messaging, our offers, our campaigns to very specific groups, which improves targeting and personalization. The last thing people want these days are you just sending them things just because you have it and you think they might want it. They actually want you to know whether or not they not only want it, but more importantly, need it. And how do you use segmentation to get you closer? But there are lots of other use cases as well, Jonathan. There's how we think about predictive analytics, right? Machine learning models can predict customer behavior and outcomes. It can predict churn, the opportunity to cross sell or upsell. It can predict lifetime value, response rates. And by leveraging historical data, these models help us identify customers for specific actions so that we can optimize marketing budgets and make data driven decisions. Another example might be like customer sentiment analysis, right? Machine learning techniques actually enable the sentiment analysis of customer feedback. So you can think about social media posts, reviews, survey responses. It helps marketers understand how customers perceive their brand, what their preferences are, what are the trends. And all of this allows us to fine tune our strategies to make improvements to products and services and to address any concerns or issues that customers have promptly.
Great. Well, Tiffany, thank you so much. I have been super eager to have this conversation with you. I am a huge fan. I'm a blog reader now.
Thank
I
you.
love your LinkedIn profile, your background, how you ended up into data overall. And, thank you also just for any of the audience joining us. We please visit cdomagazine.tech for any additional reviews. And we really appreciate the time today and hope you have a great 2023 second quarter.